So the Eagles bring back a linebacker, and they got a lot of tough decisions to make on offense and defense. And the one thing I can say for sure, they better not go away from DeAndre Swift. Dallas still stinks. Yo, by the way, King Dingbat here, and hope everybody's having a great day. Hope you guys are doing well, be hanging in there. So the Eagles got a lot of decisions to make this week. What are they going to do in the slot? Are they going to put James Bradberry there? And are they really getting ready to go away from DeAndre Swift? Is this actually a real thought in their mind? Or are they just saying what they have to say because it's what they have to say? And welcome back, Kyron Johnson. Eagles bring back another linebacker. Now, before we get into all of it, if you're new to the channel, you like the content, make sure you hit that like button. More importantly, make sure you subscribe to the most censored, the most throttled, pause, Eagles content creator in all of the internet. And if you've been subscribed for a while, just double check, double moonwalk check, and make sure everything is still set up, you're still subscribed. I'm getting throttled, like bent over the couch, throttled, pause, by YouTube lately. I don't understand what I did or what I said, but every once in a while, this is what happens. So just double check, and yeah, it is what it is. Now, we got some interesting things going on with the Eagles today. I was sitting back, and I was just listening to this new podcast, The Skinny, with Joey Merlino. Yo, you got to check it out. Great podcast. I laughed my ass off. It's nice. I like watching mob content, okay? So it's like mob stuff mixed with sports stuff. I like it. And what's cool about Joey Merlino is he's not a rat. It's not like all these other mob guys that have ratted and turned people in and ruined people's lives. He didn't do any of that. So it was very interesting. It was a very good podcast. Check it out. I'll put the link in the description for it if you guys want, but I thought it was really, really good. Now, we got some interesting things going on with the Birds that happened this afternoon. After I talked about what I talked about in my earlier video. But Ed Kratz wrote this: Pound Eagles, not hashtag, have signed linebacker Kyron Johnson to the practice squad. And if you guys remember, Kyron Johnson used to be a Philadelphia Eagle. And so now he's back. Eagles bring back another linebacker. They sure do like bringing back guys, don't they? It seems like they cut these guys and they bring them back. They cut these guys and they bring them back. I've got to think Howie Roseman is going to pull a move. I saw Cam Akers just got traded to the Minnesota Vikings. Vikings clearly need a running back. Why they let Dalvin Cook go just for money? Shouldn't have done that. But I got to think Howie is going to make a move at some point. I don't know who or what or when, but, we've talked about Buda Baker. We've talked about Jeremy Chin. We've talked about Patrick. We've talked about a lot of these guys. Another guy that we got to keep, and I'm not saying this is going to happen, but another guy we should keep an eye on is Hunter Renfrow. The first 2 weeks of the season, and I know the Eagles' passing offense has struggled, and the Eagles have admitted that, and they have basically, they're not in panic mode, but we saw Quez Watkins re-aggravate a hamstring injury, and Oz has been non-existent. The Eagles need to get some production from, their number 3 wide receiver at some point, and it would be nice if it was Quez Watkins. Renfrow could come in and play. Now, I'm not saying they're going to do it, but there are 3 positions that I basically think the Eagles need to go out, and I think one of these 3 are going to have to be addressed. Number 1, probably linebacker. Number 2, safety. Number 3, and a far-off number 3. It's not close, but it could be an issue, I'm saying, if we don't get any production from the number 3 wide receivers for continuing weeks. We'll see how it goes. I'm not so concerned about it right now, but it is a name to watch out for because I keep seeing his name put out there as somebody who's possibly going to get traded. I think a linebacker is probably their biggest need. I think they need a linebacker, and I think they need a safety. And I think they could do themselves a lot of good if they just start playing Sidney Brown. Just get him out there and start playing. But I expect with the amount of times they're cutting guys, bring guys back, cutting guys, bring guys back, cutting guys, bring them back. They're going to do something. Howie is going to do something by the trade deadline, and I think it'll be a pretty significant move. I don't know what it'll be, but I think it'll be something, no doubt about it. Couple other things I want to talk about. The slot corner position. Avonte Maddox is out, and there's been a lot of talk about James Bradberry being a slot corner. And we have talked about this before, and it was something that I thought would only be good at certain times. And it wasn't something I was big or keen on doing, because basically you're taking James Bradberry, a veteran, and you're taking him out of where he's comfortable and you're making him play in the slot. To me, it almost creates uncertainty at two positions. Now, they might, the thought is maybe they want to do it because they got Job and they like Joe, but I don't know if that would be the greatest idea, and it doesn't look like this is the plan for the Eagles. Ed Kratz wrote this. New, James Bradberry to the slot, not so fast. According to Pound Eagles defensive coordinator Sean Desai, apparently he isn't one of the in-house options Nick Sirianni talked about earlier in the week, at least not on a full-time basis. At John McMullen has more. But really, the article that they're talking about in this, it basically goes on to say that the Eagles did cross-train James Bradberry, but it was for certain situations. And we've talked about these situations before. Like, maybe when you play the Kansas City Chiefs, maybe you get James Bradberry and you put him on Travis Kelce. Maybe that's the situation you want, where he's locking on against a specific guy, a big slot wide receiver, or a tight end who is an offensive weapon catching the ball. At that point, you let Bradberry play him one-on-one. That's the scenarios where I could see it. But not on a full-time basis. You don't want to create two positions of uncertainty because he's been playing outside for so long. So I was glad to see it. Mario Goodrich is going to get the shot. And listen, hey, for next man up, let's see what he can do. So Goodrich gets his chance. And I do wonder, what do they think about Eli Ricks? Can Eli Ricks possibly go in the slot if need be? I really liked the way he's played and looked. I mean, to see what he did, versus the Colts, I just thought that the kid can absolutely play. What he did with Michael Pittman Jr., I mean, that's a starting wide receiver in the league, and he shut him down. He played him great. So we'll see how this works. The Eagles, the defense is going to have to take a while to gel and get going. We obviously need a linebacker, and we need to do something at the safety position. And I trust Howie Roseman to do those things. The other thing we want to talk about, and I mentioned this in my earlier video, that DeAndre Swift, in my opinion, is clearly your number one running back. He's the most explosive. He's the best running back, and the Eagles still have to feature him. Now, when I say feature him, I'm not talking about giving him 28 carries a game. I don't think you can do that and have him fresh, ready to go in the playoffs. That's not what I'm saying. But I think that he needs at least 10 to 15 touches at minimum a game. Somewhere between 10 and 20 touches. So maybe you give him 15 carries and five passes out of the backfield in a game. Things like that. I think you need to use them. And there's a lot of talk that the Eagles are going to just go back to running back committee, and they're always going to use the hot hand. That's okay. I don't mind that if that's what you really do. But what I don't like is when the coaches say, well, we're going to do running back by committee, but they have no intention of being by committee. They want to put Gainwell in there. They want him to be the guy, and they're going to shove it down our throats when clearly the better weapon is on the bench. They did this in the New England game. We're going to do running back by committee. That's all we heard on the summer. We get into week one, and versus the Patriots, and they didn't even hand the ball off once to DeAndre Swift. It took an injury and Gainwell out for them to go out there and actually feed DeAndre Swift. So I don't mind running back by committee, okay? You hand off to Gainwell a couple times. You hand off to DeAndre Swift a couple times. You hand off to Penny. Penny breaks a couple. He's running well. Keep feeding him. Fine. Gainwell breaks a couple off. Keep feeding him. Same with Swift. But It can't be like code for we're not going to go back to DeAndre Swift and we're only going to feature Gainwell and try to shove them down your throats. Because sometimes that's what it feels like. And I hate that. You got to use the talent that you have. I have no fear. And I am not scared at all about the Eagles and the passing attack. I know at some point they're going to figure it out. They're going to get it going. Whether it'll be versus Tampa Bay, which is a good test for them, or not, it'll come. It's going to come, Pauls. But the passing game, it will get there. That's the one thing I'm not worried about. What I worry about is this team using all their weapons properly, especially DeAndre Swift, because he, to me, can make this offense go to a whole nother level. But you have to use him right. I'm not saying to overuse him, okay? I'm not saying he should have 24 carries a game, 30 carries a game. I'm not saying that. But I'm saying that a lot of times when the Eagles in the past have said they want to do running back by committee, it really means that they want to go with the running back that isn't really maybe the guy they should be going for, that they want to push a certain running back on us. And that is one thing I think they have to avoid. If you're really authentically going to do running back by committee, I'm okay with it, going with the hot hand. But you got to give these guys touches so you know who has the hot hand and who doesn't. You know, Swift in that week 1 was a big problem, in my opinion. They've got to make sure that they keep feeding him. DeAndre Swift, for those that don't know, won NFC Player of the Week. Okay, he had 175 yards last week, career high. And this kid's just getting started. This kid is a stud. He's just got to stay healthy, got to stay durable. I'm not saying to overuse him, but you can't just ignore him. And that's what they did week 1. With that said, take care. Talk to you later. Of course, don't be a dingbat. Remember, it's Howie Vision, baby. We're all just living in it. You know what? I got to say this. I've got to say this. I really hate, and I hate it. I really hate the double headers on Monday Night Football. It's so stupid. It's like you're actually hurting your own views by having 2 games going on. You know, the Eagles play at 4 o'clock my time. Like, I'm gonna have to take the day off work. It's like I can't even just get done early and come home. Like, I have to take the day off to get home to make sure I can stream it all. I hate that having 2 Monday night games now. What next? 2 Thursday night games? They want to have a first Friday game. They want to have Christmas Day. It's like, dude, it used to be so much better. Like, you had Sunday Night Football and you had Monday Night Football. Monday Night Football was such a big event because it was only Monday Night Football. It wasn't all these other games. Thanksgiving Day games on Thursday was a treat. I had no problem adding 1 more game on Thanksgiving Day. But what the hell is with Thursday football every week? Ah, man. NFL sometimes, I just think they water the product down. And there's just no need to. Denzel Washington out.